Good afternoon. Let's start off from the Radisson Blu Hotel, where the former Secretary of State in the U.S., John Kerry, has just been giving a press briefing on the country's election process. So with the Carter Center, let's cross over there live and listen in.
Not a simple and easy exercise. And of course, it has to be audited on a regular basis so you can get out, those who passed away and etc. But what matters is the numbers that went out and expressed themselves. I think that was important. And we saw the lines. I mean, people were there and people voted. But I think that's a question to be taken into account, to regularly sort of go to your registrar so you can update it. I think there is also a need, and that's part of the recommendation of the Carter Center, to keep educating the voters. It's not an easy process. I must say I was wondering how it would work with 6 ballots, but I was impressed the way people, very quietly went and chose the right color and put the paper in the right color. So I find it quite impressive that it went smoothly, because we do know that we still have to improve our literacy rates, and I was wondering, well, how do an illiterate person would make the difference between the governor ballot and the presidential ballot and the parliament? But it went well. But that keeps, education should also be part of what IEBC will be doing in the upcoming months and years. So the citizens are more confident when they go to vote, and I think that would sort of diminish the rejected ballot. That's my thinking. As for tallying the forms, 30AB, and what comes out of the electronic system, I think it's a pretty straightforward process. As we said, they should not be, if the actors have confidence in themselves and in each other, because it's a matter of, trusting each other. And I like to emphasize that. Democracy is also about trusting each other as different actors and trusting your system and the institution. It's important to build that trust between the actors. That's why I talked about, those who had failed. The dialogue should continue to improve the process. And I think for this election, if people sit down, the party agent, IEBC, they should be able to tally. Be huge discrepancy. That's what I think from what I have seen. So if people are not happy, should they exercise the constitutional? One of the questions. I say, well, peaceful protest, of course, because there is a difference between both. I do think that at this point, nothing should be protected yet, because the process. If actors have trust between themselves, they would not be necessary even to protest. That's my conviction. From what I know, from my own background, we have changed different 3 presidents, and I was saying that at 9:30 for the last election I witnessed in Senegal, I happened to be the campaign manager of the current sitting president. We closed the booth at 6. At 9:30, the former president placed a phone call, and that was it. And I think, it should happen. It must happen in Kenya, and it must happen in the whole continent again. And I think we are making great progress toward that.
Other questions? Okay, one in the back.
Daniel Finnan, Radio France International. Just going back to something that you said, Sir John Kerry, you said that people should have confidence in the paper ballots and the accounting process and not the electronic transmission. For me, that kind of undermines the electronic transmission. What's the point of that if it's not part of the process?
Well, it's a tool. It's a transmission. It's taking something that was put in print, you scan it, and you send it. If it doesn't get sent, that doesn't change what was on the piece of paper. So what I'm saying is the bottom line story here comes not in the, gee, the system broke down, the server crashed, and it didn't transmit. but whether or not the paper is certifiable as being what it was. And that's the issue here. So that's why I say it comes down. I mean, that's the virtue of this. This was simply a tool to transmit quickly, to try to get results rapidly. But that didn't work as well as everybody wanted. So the backup is you still have the paper. And that's what protects the sanctity of every Kenyan's vote.
If there are no other questions, then we'll